14 years ago, you could describe a game with just a handful of words, over the top, drug fueled, top down violence, and everyone instantly knew what you were talking about. Hotline Miami didn't just define a genre, it scarred it permanently, and gamers, being the creatures of habit that we are, have never recovered. Ever since, every neon soaked top down shooter gets dragged into the same courtroom, same judge, same jury, same verdict waiting to happen. Is it the next Hotline Miami? Is it a spiritual successor? Is it a clone? And today, the defendant is Jackal, a game that doesn't just accept the comparison, it leans into it, embraces it, and politely asks Hotline Miami if it can borrow its jacket. So the real question isn't whether Jackal looks like Hotline Miami. It absolutely does. The real question is whether Jackal is just doing a tribute act, or whether it actually deserves a spot on the stage. Let's deal the cards. To explain how Jackal feels, I need to tell you about a road trip. Picture this. You're driving to Rennes. You're already half-baked behind the wheel, questioning every life choice that led you here. From the back seat comes 2 straight hours of non-stop constructive criticism. You stop at least 20 times to cry in a corner. You pop a double dose of painkillers and wash it down with half a pack of wiki that's now rolling around the back seat because the kids aren't thirsty anymore. At some point, you whisper to yourself, God, what did I do to deserve this? And then you remember, it all started when you let yourself be seduced by that one girl. That feeling, that momentum-driven spiral where you're too far in to stop and too committed to quit. That's Jackal. Thankfully, Jackal doesn't take place in Rennes. Instead, it drops you into 1970s Las Vegas, a city where excess isn't frowned upon, it's mandatory. You don't play a tired journalist questioning his existence. You play a violently drug-addicted contract killer, already halfway to hell before the tutorial finishes loading. And instead of kids screaming from the backseat, your commentary comes from Anubis, Egyptian god of the dead, full-time cynic, part-time life coach. He doesn't judge you, he encourages you, which frankly is worse. Jackal's philosophy is brutally simple. Take the drugs, go all in, don't think. It's already too late to turn back. Maybe your life would have been different if you'd made better choices, but we're past that now. Ride it out, keep the flow going, overdose if necessary. Jackal is a very obvious love letter to Hotline Miami, and developer Transhuman Design isn't shy about it. Led by Mikhail Marcinkowski, the team straight up acknowledges the inspiration. They literally say it in the press kit. No subtext, no winking, just honesty. And honestly, that helps. Oscar Wilde once said, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. People usually forget the second half of that quote, but in Jackal's case, we can safely ignore it. Because clone or not, Jackal is not mediocre. This isn't a cheap knockoff chasing nostalgia. It's a confident homage built by people who clearly understand why Hotline Miami worked. At its core, Jackal is a fast, aggressive, top-down shooter that lives and dies by momentum. Every level follows the same rhythm. Breach, discombobulate, and completely ruin someone's day. Crowbars, sledgehammers, chef's knives, katanas, pistols, shotguns, everything is lethal, everything is immediate, and everything hates you. And once the dust settles, you're left staring at the aftermath. Neon lights, pastel hues, and enough blood on the floor to make OSHA file a complaint. Look at how you massacred those boys. That line might as well be Jackal's thesis statement. Structurally, Jackal doesn't pretend to reinvent the wheel. Kill 'em all is the mantra, and it's usually spelled out on screen before each mission. The variation doesn't come from objectives, it comes from how you approach the chaos. Before each job, Anubis offers you playing cards, powerful perks you can activate mid-mission, temporary blindness for enemies, instant teleportation, slow motion frenzies that turn everyone into a liability. These aren't panic buttons, they're pressure valves. Use them too early and you waste them. Use them too late and you're already dead. And when things start feeling unfair, when you're dying over and over in a level that feels like a blender filled with bullets, Jackal throws you a lifeline. You can randomize the level layout without changing the mission itself. Same enemies, same objective, different geometry. Sometimes that's all it takes to turn a death funnel into an actual chance. It's a smart player respecting feature that keeps frustration from boiling over into controller throwing rage. Jackal is also very aware of its length. This is not a long game. Depending on difficulty and your tolerance for self-inflicted suffering, you'll probably see the credits after 2 or 3 hours. But instead of padding things out, Transhuman Design leans hard into replayability. After your first run, the game opens up with modifiers, difficulty tweaks, and customization options. perfect for speedrunners, completionists, and people who see leaderboards as a personal challenge to their honor. Now we need to talk about the soundtrack, because this is where Hotline Miami comparisons hit hardest. Hotline Miami's music wasn't just good, it was iconic. Those pounding synthwave tracks carried half the experience. Jackal doesn't aim for that. Its 1970s Vegas setting leans into funkier, sleazier beats instead. They work, they fit the vibe, but they don't hit with the same cultural force. For some players, that absence will be noticeable, maybe even disappointing. It doesn't ruin the experience, but it does mean Jackal's music complements the action rather than defining it. Jackal isn't flawless either, there are bugs. Music occasionally cutting out. More annoyingly, clipping issues that can trap you in walls or doors. Sometimes button mashing saves you. Sometimes the only solution is a hard reset. They're frustrating, immersion breaking moments, but they're not frequent enough to derail the entire experience. So, how does Jackal actually perform as a spiritual successor to Hotline Miami? Surprisingly well, as long as you accept that it isn't trying to replace it. This is a parallel evolution, not a challenger. The combat is sharp, the violence is excessive, the 1970s Vegas atmosphere oozes style, the replayability is smartly designed. Yes, it's short. Yes, it has bugs. Yes, the comparisons are unavoidable. But Jackal earns its seat at the table. This isn't a cheap imitation. It's a confident bet that knows exactly what it's doing. Final score 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button. It helps more than Anubis ever will. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into games that flirt with brilliance and occasionally overdose trying. And let me know in the comments, is Hotline Miami still untouchable, or has something finally come close? Until next time, double or nothing, sir.